He's been away for a while. He's moved over 1,000 miles from home. Now, in the sunny state of Florida, a man rises from the shadows to bring you a higher class of movie reviews. His name is Andrew Cavanaugh, and this is Cavanaugh's Corner.
Hello there. Good evening. And welcome to another episode of Cavanaugh's Corner. I'm Andrew Cavanaugh. I want to say thank you for coming back and joining us again. This week I'm going to be talking about two movies, actually, in my opinion, two of the biggest movies of last year. One of them definitely being the biggest movie of 2015. Funny enough, these are not movies that are in the movie theaters. They were. They're now out on home video. I got them right here, actually. I'm going to grab them for you right now, show them to you. One of which is the most recent Tarantino film, The Hateful Eight, starring pretty much everybody. There's a lot of stars in this movie. Sam Jackson and Kurt Russell being the two main stars of this film. And of course, what I consider to be the best and the biggest film of 2015, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, or as most guys are calling it now, Episode 7. But pretty much, I'm going to be talking about these two releases, talking about briefly going over the movie, just what my thoughts of the movie, and also my thoughts on the Blu-ray presentation, the special features, and all that. First, I'm going to start off with the Tarantino film. I'm going to start off with Hateful Eight. This is a movie that I strangely did not get a chance to see in theaters. I've seen actually every Tarantino movie. This is one that I missed. I did not get a chance because I was actually moving to Florida. I was moving from Rhode Island to Florida when this originally came out. I did not get a chance to see it, which is a shame, but in the end, I got to see it on Blu-ray now after all this time. And I have to admit, that movie-wise, starting off with my review of the movie, this is not my favorite Tarantino film, not by a long shot. I enjoyed Django Unchained much more than I enjoyed this. Django is definitely a more Tarantino-esque kind of film. This is something new for Mr. Tarantino. Do not go into this movie expecting an out-and-out Western, kind of like how Django was basically a Western with a Tarantino twist. This is a mystery movie set in the West with an epic scale. It's the strangest amalgamation of genres, and I think that's kind of what Tarantino was setting out in this movie. It's a strange mix. It's partly a anti-war film. It's a race film. A lot is talked about race relations in this movie. The N-word is dropped, I think, almost more times than it was in Django Unchained, which has got to be some kind of record. It is a part mystery movie, like I mentioned earlier, because a lot through the movie, you're just trying to figure out what the characters are there for. A lot of the characters, you have an idea of why they're going to the place that they're going to in this movie, but a lot of times, a lot of the characters, their background and their true purpose is hidden away for dramatic reasons. It's an epic movie, but it's set in a very small, singular location. And it's so funny because it starts off, you're thinking you're going to get this big epic Western, and you end up getting this very tightly wound mystery Western action comedy drama. It's the weirdest thing ever. I did have a few laughs with this movie, as all Tarantino movies do. I did get a couple laughs out of it, which I thought was great. But for the most part, it's a very slow, methodically paced movie, and it's not like most Quentin Tarantino movies. The only Tarantino movie I can say is paced quite this way is Death Proof, part of the Grindhouse movies. And I did not like Death Proof. I think that's hands down Tarantino's worst movie. this is a very talkative movie. It's all dialogue driven. It's not an action film, not like Django could be say is part action film. This is not action. This is a drama mystery western, if that even makes any sense. It is extremely bloody. It's extremely violent. Most, like all Tarantino movies is. Only this one here has kind of a Sam Peckinpah kind of build up to the violence that takes place in this movie. But boy, when it happens, boy, is it nasty. So be prepared for that. In the end, I can't recommend this movie to anybody but Quentin Tarantino fans, because I don't think anybody else would enjoy it. Honestly, if you're a Western fan, you're not going to like this movie, because it's not a Western. It just takes place in the Old West. If you're a mystery fan, you may not like it, because you may figure it out the moment the movie starts. And you may not even like it if you're a Tarantino fan, because it's definitely unlike any of his other movies. It is just not a I can't say high pace, but a fast pace Tarantino film. It's just not. If not, sadly, this may be a skip for most people. The film here it is magnificent looking. I think that's the number one thing I can say about this movie, is that this may be one of the most wonderfully shot movies I've seen in a long time. And that's mainly because Tarantino shot this in a format known as 70mm film, or Ultra Panavision 70. And it's a film stock that it has not been used in many years. 65mm is just a stunning format. I wish I could have seen this in the 70mm projection in theaters. But at home, on home video, this is one of the most beautiful home video releases I've seen in a long time. Funny enough, the special features in this movie are very limited. There's a brief featurette about like a behind-the-scenes look at the movie, and then there's actually an interesting featurette for film buffs that would like to know more about the 70mm process, and it's actually hosted by Sam Jackson, who's very funny as always. He is actually probably the number one best thing about this movie. Sam Jackson just robs this movie from everybody. And I love Kurt Russell, and Kurt is awesome in this movie as well. But Sam really is the star of this movie, and he does such a wonderful job. His character is so dynamic. I think he's probably the best part. Special features wise, though, this is not a special features heavy Blu-ray, unlike the next release, and it's too bad, because I wish I could have seen a little more behind the scenes stuff with this. Again, what you get is okay. It's not anything crazy, but it's nice. It's a nice featurette. You know, it's minimal, but still just enough in depth to get you interested. I enjoyed it. I think this is a fine home video release. Nothing crazy. But other Tarantino movies have kind of put more work into it. This is kind of a weak release for his films. But as a Blu-ray, all in all, the movie is what you come for this, and it looks absolutely stunning. Other than that, I mean, the movie itself, I'm not nuts about it. I think it was okay. I think it was very inventive. I think the writing of this movie is the number one best thing about it. Everything else, like I said, the cinematography is magnificent, the acting is fine, but it's an aggravating kind of movie. But the number one thing I wanted to talk to you about this movie is almost 3 hours long. And I think the length of this movie is one thing that goes against it, sadly. Tarantino's movies have always been long. This movie, you really feel the length. About midway through the movie, for the first time ever in a Tarantino movie since Death Proof, I watched it. I actually had to check to see how long the movie had left, because the movie is so slow-paced for a Tarantino film. I was kind of thinking, all right, when the hell is this going to get? When is this going to ramp up? because the movie is so incredibly long. But if you're a fan of long films, if you're a fan of Tarantino, you'll most likely enjoy this movie. Otherwise, it's for Tarantino fans only. If you're an extreme film buff, I say buy this. If not, it's worth a solid rent. Definitely check out the Hateful Eight, but only check it out if you're one of those two fan groups I mentioned earlier. If you're a Tarantino fan or if you're just a film buff like I am, it's definitely worth a look. But I could not suggest buying this unless you were collecting all of Tarantino's movies. So that's my look on the Hateful Eight. Next off is hands down one of the best movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. When I saw this movie last year, I had just recently moved to Florida. It was actually the first movie I saw when I moved down here. It was, I think, right after Christmas I saw this. I think it was like the day after Christmas or something. And the experience I had was nothing short of amazing. I think amazing is definitely a word you could use for this film. And I hate to say it, but the IMAX portion of it, it could have gone without the 3D. Honestly, the 3D in this movie helped, but it wasn't a seal the deal kind of thing. But the movie I'm talking about, obviously, is Star Wars: The Force Awakens, or as most people are calling it now, Episode 7. I like The Force Awakens because I'm getting sick of the numbers, especially since the prequels were all numbers, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. It's because those movies had absolutely no substance to them. So, of course, they had to name them by the numbers. Kind of ironic if you think about it. But honestly, this is the best movie of 2015 in my opinion, and also one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. A lot of people are giving it flack because they say it's just too close to A New Hope. I say, what's the fucking problem? Honestly, what's the problem with it being close to A New Hope? A New Hope is a masterpiece, in my opinion. It's a perfect, one of the few perfect movies I think I've ever seen. Even though in recent years Lucas has gone back and kind of messed with it a little too much in terms of adding in things, but the original film to me is just a masterwork, and this is right up there. This is real close. This is one of the few ways I think they could have continued the series. The movie as a whole, the story is one that keeps you constantly interested. If you're a Star Wars fan or not, I think you'll find the story very interesting. I think also the one great thing about this movie is I think it's a little over 2.5 hours. It's a little over 2 hours long. It's not 2.5 hours, but it's a little over 2 hours long. And it does not feel like a two or so hour movie. This thing moves fast. There's nothing wrong with a slow-paced film. I mentioned Hateful Eight earlier, and that's a very slow-paced film to the extreme. But this is a brisk moving movie. And I think that's the one thing I like about it, is it takes a breather when it needs to, but for the most part, it just keeps going, and you got to kind of catch up with it, which I think is awesome. J.J. Abrams is he's at his best in this movie. I think it's amazing. I think this is his best film overall, and I love some of his other movies, but I think this is his best work. I also think this is the best looking Star Wars movie yet out of all of them in terms of cinematography. Even though, the original films are all incredible looking, I think this one here is on its own playing field, really, when it comes to cinematography. I think it captures the original look of the original series from the 70s and 80s. But it also kind of glams it up just enough for what I like to call the HD age, which is what we're in now, the high definition age. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Carrie Fisher that she did not get to do more in this movie. According to the deleted scenes that are on this, some of her stuff was left out, which is too bad. But the movie as a whole, I think, is just amazing. Harrison Ford is almost unplugged in this movie. He is, I can't say pitch perfect because he's not, but as close as I've ever seen to a perfect performance. That's Harrison Ford in this movie. And he really gives it his all in this movie. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but there is a very heavy moment in this film, and I will admit I did shed a tear in the movie theater when it happened. I think honestly that I have to say, I think honestly, the one thing I could say about experiencing this movie in the movie theater is that watching this movie for the first time, and even again for the second time on Blu-ray, is it's the only time I think I can say other than maybe some of the one of the first Avengers film, where I felt like, man, like I feel like a little kid watching this thing. I honestly can't explain it, but I was transported right back to around, I think, 96, 97, when I first saw the original Star Wars on VHS. And my mind was just blown by this incredible film, and encased my mind in such wonder that no other film since has done to me. And I'm not really even a big Star Wars fan, but when I was a kid, that was pretty much it. And again, like I said, I'm not even a big Star Wars fan. I'm not crazy about it like I used to be when I was very young. But I can say for a fact that this movie series, for a while there, I was very disappointed with it. Honestly, when I was a kid, when Episode 1 came out, I thought that movie was amazing. Revisiting it many years later, I had to kind of change my opinion on that, because I kind of saw it for what it was, and it was all spectacle and no substance. And then I was a little bit older when Episode 2 came out, and I thought that was okay, but I really didn't enjoy it even when it came out. And then Episode 3 came out, and I thought that was pretty well done, but still it felt very artificial. It felt like I was watching actors on a green screen for 2 hours or so. This movie, my deepest thanks to everyone involved in this movie, because they brought back the wonder and the reality of the original series. The original series, they didn't have the comfort of using green screens and all these computer effects, although there were some really amazing effects in the original series. They kind of brought it back to the heart and soul of the original Star Wars series, which needed to be done for this in order for it to be even the least bit successful. They did it. And I think you can see that they cared about making this movie. Like I said, I think this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in a movie theater. It has its shortcomings. The story is not the most involving, but you still deeply care about the characters that are in this film. And I think that's the number one thing about this movie, is that you care about what happens to the people in this film. Like the Hateful Eight, I honestly didn't give a crap about what happened to anybody in that movie, although I thought the characters were interesting. I couldn't get involved in them because I didn't relate to anybody. This one here, not only do we relate to the original characters from the original Star Wars series, but you really like the new characters that are introduced in this, especially Rey, Finn, and Poe. Those three characters, I think, were geniusly written. I think Lawrence Kasdan, who did the script to this, or is one of the writers on the script to this, I should say, is one of the most masterful screenwriters of our time. I think that man has written more incredible scripts. Just not only extremely entertaining scripts, but scripts with characters that not only are very interesting, but you give a crap about them and you care about what happens to them. And these people in this movie transcend the Star Wars series to the point where you relate to them, but they're also, you can see them becoming the next generation of characters, which is really what I think this movie set out to do. And it does it, and it succeeds in every way. I cannot wait for episode 8, whatever the heck they're going to name that. I can't wait for that. And I think on the movie, just by the movie alone, this is a must-buy. Now, for the presentation of the Blu-ray and the special features, I'll talk about that right now. This is hands down, if not the best-looking movie I've ever bought on Blu-ray. This is a perfect presentation of a film. Man, it's tough for me to explain it, but this movie was shot partially on, I think, 35 millimeter, and also partly in IMAX. And this is an incredible looking work. This movie is stunning. I was lucky enough to watch it in a kind of upscaled, almost 4K quality. I have a Blu-ray player that upscales to like 2.5K, like 3K almost. I got a 4K TV, surround sound system, all that fancy stuff. And this movie it blew my mind. Again, almost as much as it blew my mind in the theater, it blew me right through this wall here, and I almost killed my next door neighbors. No, I'm kidding, I didn't do that, but literally the sound, it'll knock your hair back. The picture is just flawless. Not a ounce of grain is in this, and you don't get me wrong, I like film grain. I think some movies look better with a little film grain. This is crisp. This is like, it's like al dente spaghetti. It's like it's friggin' perfect. It's almost aggravating how perfect this movie looks. I tried to find flaws in it. Like I just watched it the other day. The day I got this in, I watched this, and I was watching it like a hawk. I was like, oh man, maybe there's got to be something going on here. But it's perfect. The movie looks perfect. It's kind of unbelievable. To be honest, I'm not sure how this looks better than this, but it does. I can't explain it. I don't know if it was a process that was done. But literally, the movie is just flawless. Close-ups are just incredibly detailed. Wide shots are almost panoramic. I mean, like you could frame some of the shit in this movie and put it up on a wall, and it would be considered art. It's just an amazing looking movie. Sound mix is theater quality. I mean, it's impressive. It's really impressive. It's DTS HD 7.1. So I mean, it's just about as good as you're gonna get for your home theater system if you have a 7.1 home theater system. I don't, and it still sounded great. But the other thing I think has to be said about this movie is Disney. You did it, awesome. I mean, this is Disney first and foremost. Unlike a lot of other movie companies around today, Disney knows how to do a home video release. Most of their home video releases are either packed full of special features or they really have nothing at all. A lot of the Marvel movies, actually almost every Marvel movie that's come out, has some kind of special edition that's just jammed to the gills with special features. And I think they did this right. This is a 3-disc set. It's 2 Blu-rays, a DVD, and it actually has a digital copy as well with a bunch of other features. But I think the thing that I really like about this is the Blu-ray is on its own disc. So instead of having to compress the file to fit like other special features on it, the Blu-ray is it's given free reign to take up as much damn space as it wants. And I think that's why this movie looks so good. Unlike the other one I reviewed earlier and some of the other movies I've talked about in the past, I think it's nice when you have the movie on its own disc. I think it shows. They'll give the movie its own file. And I think with that you can give it kind of free reign to be as good looking as humanly possible. I think that's how we got the movie as good as it looks on this Blu-ray. There's an extra disc with all the special features on it, one of which being a very long, it is a feature length actually, it's a feature length documentary called The Secrets of the Force Awakens. And it's done by a masterful documentarian I'm going to mispronounce his name here, but his name is Laurent Bouzereau, I think is how his name is pronounced. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But this guy has done more special features documentaries, I think, than any other human being on the planet, and he is the best. He is, in my opinion, the best. He's done documentaries on Spielberg movies such as Jaws, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. All of those have got documentaries by this man. And he knows how to do a making of documentary. He covers almost all the bases, from the pre-production to the the wrapping of filming. The only thing I think was kind of sad was that we didn't get too much post-production on this, which is too bad. But I mean, who gives a crap? I mean, there's a whole documentary. I mean, not a whole documentary. I'm sorry. There's a whole featurette about ILM. Industrial Light and Magic, which has done all the Star Wars special effects. And that's a really nice little documentary. A little special feature on here. A little featurette, I should say. But, I mean, this release is everything you could want. Everything you could want for a Star Wars Blu-ray release. Honestly, if this is a sign of what's to come for future Disney Star Wars releases, I am really, really excited to see what they do if and when they re-release the other movies in the series, now that they've gotten them from the clutch of 20th Century Fox. Or they soon will have them from the clutch of 20th Century Fox. I'm looking to see what they do. Don't get me wrong, Fox does fairly good Blu-ray releases until recently. Last couple releases I've seen from Fox have been kind of halfway decent. I think the best thing Fox has done recently, honestly, for their Blu-ray releases is the X-Files series. And I'm collecting those as of right now, and I'll actually be doing a full X-Files series release review once I have them all. So stay tuned for that. But Disney did this right, and I think Disney is gonna do the series right in the long run. Just watched the trailer for Rogue One the other day, and that looks absolutely that looks incredible. It almost looks like they went back to the 70s and shot that and added a little more grittiness. It actually looks like a war film. So I'm very eager to find out more about that movie. But in the end, this is a must-buy. You have to own this. This is a perfect Blu-ray release of a near-perfect film. And honestly, I can't think of anything that I can nag against this movie. There's not much I can actually I can say is wrong with this movie because it does so much right. I mean, everything about it. Also, something I thought was really cute is there's a whole featurette on this devoted to BB-8, and I love BB-8. He is adorable. Definitely one of the cutest characters to grace the screen in a long time is in this. There's a whole little featurette about that. I forgot about that. But in the end, my reviews for this week say you gotta own Star Wars The Force Awakens. Have to buy that. There's actually a lot of different versions of that Blu-ray you can buy too from different retails. I got this from Amazon, and this is just the standard release, and the standard release is awesome. So if there's other ones that have better materials on them, grab them because it's worth it. And I'd say for Hateful Eight, it's a solid rent. For fans of Tarantino, I'd say you probably want to own it. But for the most part, I'd say this is a solid rent because you should see it. It is a good Tarantino film, but it's definitely not his best. Definitely worth watching. I enjoyed it, but again, not everybody will. I think the length is going to scare a lot of people away. But those are my reviews for this week. Next week I'll be back with a review of the Kevin Costner film Criminal, and maybe a couple other surprises. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next week. Again, I'm Andrew Cavanaugh. Thanks for coming to Cavanaugh's Corner again this week. And remember, keep reaching for the stars, and so will I. Bye-bye.